I'm gonna put this somewhere else. All right. Okay, so photographing your work at home. This is for folks who are using your phone and no special equipment or software. If you are using special equipment or software, I'm gonna assume that you know a lot more than I do. But these are some tips to help you take pretty good photos at home with no special equipment. A few things that you want to do to set yourself up for success are, first of all, make sure that your lens, presumably on your phone, is clear of any dirt or fingerprints. If you're working with something that has reflection, like say a shiny photo or something with metallic ink or even graphite, if your work is reflective, keep an eye on glares and adjust accordingly. Give yourself a few days to get good images and try at different times of day. This is because the sun and the light can be so different. Western facing windows or doors will have the strongest afternoon light, followed by southern facing and eastern facing, like portals to the sun, will get strongest morning light. So you're gonna kind of want to play with the different light you have access to in your space or outside, but you're just gonna look for a nice clear source of light. And don't use your flash. That will generally flatten and wash things out. So we're looking for bright diffused light. And what we want to avoid, this is a poster that I made in a class that I took for letterpress, and it actually has pretty reflective silver paint. So we're looking for bright diffused light. And what we don't want is somewhere where there is bright or blinding light. So that's kind of like your high noon light, or like your more in the Pacific Northwest, that high 2 p.m. light. And you don't want weird shadows. So this is a good example of bright afternoon light and weird shadows. Also, this is outside with some pretty bright afternoon light, and you can see these very sharp shadows being cast. You want to avoid that. And you want to avoid any darkness or shade. So this is taken in the spot where I'm taking all of these photos, including the good ones, but I have it sort of tucked closer to the wall where part of the light is obstructed. And you can kind of see the top left-hand corner. So how do we get bright diffused light? You want to be, if you're inside, go inside of a door or a window, and an overcast day is great, or again, like that, not like super bright afternoon light. So the morning or the evening, but not too early, not too late, to the point where it's getting dark. Again, like I said, you may want to give yourself a couple days and try different times to sort of get what translates best into your device. And you're just going to want to check and make sure that the light is even across the plane of your work. So you want to avoid things like these. All right, so this first picture is from a PDF that I'm going to link. One of the professors shared it with me, so some of you may have it. So I'm going to link that below. And then the other one is in my house. It's not super cute, but I have this futon right in front of a western-facing window. This is taken in the morning, and I had to actually put the futon down and go sort of out and away from the window to get that bright, unobstructed light. So, you know, it's not pretty, but it worked. All right, so another thing we want to look for is that even keystone. So this is an image that I took at school, and I used that bulletin board to give me a line to base some of this off of. It's not necessarily like absolutely perfect, but it's pretty good. You can see that border of the bulletin board is pretty even all the way around. What you don't want is a distorted perspective like this. As you can probably imagine, when you go to crop this, the top of the poster is much smaller than the bottom, and it's all like weird. So how to do this, one tip is if your phone has a grid feature, use it. This is Sam's awesome picture, and you can see you can see the grid feature being used. Couple other tips aren't these beautiful pictures? When you're taking the picture, this is actually not the greatest part of the day, but it was when someone was around to take pictures. You're gonna wanna stand right over or right in front of the image and sort of play with your device till you have those even grid lines around the image or those even border lines around the image. All right, so the next thing you want to do is high resolution. Now we're assuming again that you don't have any special equipment. So a good way to test, or actually move to the next slide. What you don't want is you don't want the image to be lower quality and fuzzy. As you can see when I blow up this picture, on the left, even that corner, that orange corner, which should be pretty sharp, is really fuzzy. And that's just because the light was not bright enough. And so it ended up being really pixelated. In this image, this is a student work image. There was enough light that even when I zoom in pretty far, everything is still pretty crisp. Zooming in on your device or on your laptop is a good way to get a sense of how high resolution your image is. And if you zoom in a bit and it's not crisp, then you might want to try taking the picture with better light. All right, so you also want your picture to be in focus. You don't want it to be blurry. So this is, simply because of movement in the camera when I'm taking the image. No movement, movement. How do you keep it in focus? You can use a tripod if you have it. If you have a phone tripod, then use it. But if not, you can simply stabilize your hand, arm, or phone, or some combination thereof on a chair or a wall. So I'm showing, I've got my elbow on the chair to take the photo. And this image, again, it was taken when someone was around to take it. And actually, I would not have taken that actual picture of the artwork. But you can see here, I'm stabilizing my elbow on the chair. And then I'm stabilizing the phone with my hand. And you could do that, you could use anything to do that, and you could stabilize any part. It could be your elbow, it could be your hand, it could be the phone itself. Something else that I like to do is to take a breath, and as I finish exhaling, I take the picture then. That sometimes helps you not move while you take the picture. And finally, take multiple pictures, trying as hard as possible to keep them in focus so that you have a better chance of getting a focused one. All right, and use a plain background and crop. So here in these pictures of the vote poster, I'm just using my puzzle cardboard, my piece of cardboard I used to do puzzles on. It's not beautiful, but you're gonna wanna crop that in, and hopefully if you've got a nice even keystone, you can do that pretty well. On the left here, you can see this is not absolutely perfect, but it's fine. It'll be fine if I crop in a little more. And this just happened to be a little bit of a bendy poster. Hopefully your artwork is flat. You could use a little bit of tape to tack it down as well if it's not perfectly flat. What you don't want is distracting backgrounds. We're not going to really talk about 3D art, but the picture on the right is of a 3D piece with a messy background. And then on the left, the vote poster. Of course, if you crop it in and the lighting is good, I mean, it is fine, but I think a nice clean background is going to help you do all of the things we just talked about. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about what to do with the picture once you've taken it. If it's in your phone, it's probably a JPEG. This is good for higher quality images. If your teacher asks you to submit to the student show, this is the type of image you're going to want to use. Or if they ask you to submit for our social media, or if you want to post something on social media, you're probably going to want a JPEG. A PDF, however, is really useful. It's a smaller file. Well, it's not good for all applications. It's pretty good for Canvas, and it's great for email. You can use Microsoft Word or apps like Cam Scanner, which Sam is going to talk about, to make your image a PDF. And we'll talk a little bit about uploading to Canvas a PDF or a JPEG, or like we talked about, depending on what your teacher wants, a Microsoft Word document could work as well. But something that's kind of cool is you can batch photographs into one PDF. So you submit one file with multiple photographs. So for certain things that would be useful. So if you need a JPEG, it's probably fine right out of your phone. I usually just email it to myself. If I don't feel like connecting my phone to the computer, I'll just email it to myself if I need to give it to somebody in the computer. Okay, so if I'm making a PDF using Word, I will first of all set myself up for success. The first thing I'm going to do is go to Layout and then go to Margins and go to Narrow. And the second thing that I'm going to do is if I have images that are vertical, then I'll keep the page vertical. And if not, then I'll change the orientation from portrait to landscape, depending on which type of images I'm going to use. All right, so now I'm going to add my images into the document. So I'm going to go to Insert and then Pictures. From this device, I'm going to go to the place that I have my images saved. So I'm just going to use some historic images. And I'm going to choose a variety of images. So a variety of oriented images. Okay, so as you can see, the quality is not great on these images. So just ignore that. But as you can see, I can fill the whole page with my vertical images, and depending on what I want to do, that may be just perfect. For these images, however, I'm not going to be able to do that. And so if I do have, am in the situation where I need to submit images of a variety of sizes, I simply set them up so that they are as big as they can be. Presumably they'll be higher quality images, so that whoever is looking at them can get the full idea. Now, if this is more of a thumbnail situation, you could just make these all smaller, and you could also take your images so that they were all the same orientation. But anyway, I've got them as big as they can be and fully represented. I could add captions at this point. I may need to make these a little bit smaller. But I would just click over here on the right and then hit Enter. Yeah. Okay, so click on the right and hit Enter and then add my caption. And I could go down and do that for the rest. So again, I might need to make this smaller so it all fits on the same page. I'm going to just click on the right of the image and hit Enter. Would not be caption, and then same goes for these guys. There we go, that's a little smoother. So I'm just clicking on the right of the image, hitting Enter. And so this went to the next page, no worries, I just probably need to adjust to the size here. There we go. So I make sure that I don't have any extra pages. Everything is how I want it to be. I've got all 4 images for my critique or whatever in the same document. And now I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to save in this same spot, and I'm going to name the file. I just name it with my name, Project 1, let's say. And in this little spot under where I put the title, I'm going to do the drop-down menu and go to PDF. And then hit Save. Okay. So now in my folder, I've got this PDF. And as you can see, it's going to open. And unlike in the Word document, nothing will move. My captions are all there. Everything is exactly like I want it. Okay, so this is how to make a PDF using Microsoft PowerPoint. So the first thing I'm going to do is once I come in here, I've got this default slide, and I'm going to go to new slide, and I like to use the slide that has a title and content. So this is basically a like caption bar and then a picture bar. And then I'm just going to, that should be my default now. So I'm going to make however many slides I need. And this one I can just get rid of. Okay, so now I have this nice setup here. I'm going to go ahead and import some images. I'm just going to use the same images that I used last time. I'm going to do them one by one. You could also copy and paste right onto the slide. That is fine. Okay, so now that I've got my images, I'm going to use this one, this one, this one, and what was the last one I used? I think it was this one. Okay, so what I like about this is that it allows me to format each slide page differently, but then save them all together as a PDF. So what I usually do is again, because we're doing art, I like to make the image as large as I can. And I like to just keep a simple format, but you can adjust this to your own personal taste. So I like to make the image as big as I can, have a nice even border, and then add my caption. I'm going to continue on down the row. You can also change up your font and size if you want. I'm just going to leave this as the default for now, but you can adjust it again based on your own taste. So these horizontal images, again, these are just stock images that I pulled from my computer. Your images of your work will be higher quality. So I'm again making these as big as I can, but like you can see on this one, it's a bit longer, so I'm not going to be able to do that, and I'll just adjust accordingly. So I still want to leave myself room for my caption, so I'm just going to even up my borders and then add my caption here. Okay, so now I'm done. I'm going to get rid of any extra slides that I don't need. Okay, so I'm going to go to save this as a PDF. I'm going to go to File, Save As. I go to my Work from Home folder and I'm going to add the title. So this is Gullioti Project 1. And then instead of hitting Save, Stop, it's so automatic for me to want to hit Save, I'm going to go to what type of file, and instead of PowerPoint presentation, I'm going to scroll down to PDF, and then I'm going to hit Save, and then you'll see I have a sweet little PDF with everything all included in one document.